Okay, so today's before we even get into that, welcome to yet another week of the webinar series. And oh, sorry, still loading. Okay, can everyone hear me? Can you hear me? Messi, can you hear me? Okay. So all right. So welcome to today's segment. Today we're going to be looking at boosting efficiency using some boosting efficiency for management using some productivity tools. And this is central to the point that okay, as you step into any management role, whether you are a team lead, a technical team lead, whatever type of team lead you are, a manager or anything, you definitely have to have some tools that make you more productive. And so we're going to be exploring a couple of those tools, and they have categories. So we're going to be looking at some of them, and I'll also be performing like a walkthrough on how to, really use them to boost your productivity. So without wasting much time, let's get into it. Welcome. Okay. So now productivity. Who can tell me what productivity is or what they understand by productivity? Yes. Please, you could unmute your mic and answer. Productivity. Who understands what productivity means? Okay. Yes, Mercy, please.
Okay, good evening, Ma. Productivity, to my understanding, is being able to make a substantial effort to increase whatever you're doing. For instance, if you want to learn something, being able to make it yield for you, putting in the much needed work or skill to make it yield. That's the productivity in it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. So productivity is to boost or make better, like actually have more come out from whatever it is that you're doing. So when we talk about low productivity, this one, that one, it's more like you can do it optimally, but you're not performing at the level that you need to perform. So it's now causing low productivity on your end. So what productivity tools do basically are they help you streamline your workflow, manage your time, and enhance efficiency in both personal and professional settings. So rather than just helping you, they help you, become more optimal in the sense that they help you streamline workflow. So for example, if you're someone that has to deal with like a certain type of routine all the time, say you're a business owner and you want to be able to manage some task or I'll delegate it to other people, but still have them go through that particular task in a certain order. You might think of documenting what that process is like, everything that needs to happen in that process. So for example, you're a whether you're an assistant or you're even a developer, let's use that for an example. And there is a certain way of doing things. So if you're going to design something or develop something or write down something, there is a certain way you're used to doing it. And the productivity there is you now have this, even with or without you being there, the process will still remain the same. So if it's a point where you're handling or managing a client, you could just simply send the document, maybe a list of questions that the document that the client needs to answer. You just send it across and just have them answer those questions without you even being there. So, and let's use someone that is maybe a sales rep or a customer service person. There is like a routine of questions or a routine of response that you're supposed to give based on what the client is talking about. So if you're a sales rep or a customer rep, say in an organization that sells agricultural produce, let's use, for example, cassava. Customers are going to ask about like, well, like, do you have cassava? Is it the stem? Do you have the fruit? Do you have by fruit I mean the tuber? Do you have the after produce of maybe gari, fufu, tapioca, things like that? So you can already automate your process by having a handbook where you have all those things written down, and you can then pass this on to whoever else that will come after you, maybe in terms of training. So it helps you streamline your workflow, manage your time, because if you have to say the same thing, say you have 10 clients and you have to tell them the same thing over and over again, you would get to a point where like you're beginning to burn out yourself because you're doing the same task multiple times and you're replicating it so many times that it now becomes maybe mundane or boring. So oftentimes it's best document this thing, a certain workflow, a certain procedure in which things are going to be done, and then it will save you the time of having to like go over it over and over again. Are we following? Are we together so far? Can I get a reaction? Okay, all right, thank you. So now and these productivity tools, we're not saying that it's limited to just your professional life or business. It's also in your personal life. For example, this webinar that we are actually joined together here, there are certain tools that I've had to use in curating the webinar. And if these tools were not there, it would have been a lot more tasking for me to get this going. For example, you have Google Calendar. Google Calendar has helped me to be able to automate invitations to different persons at the same time. Okay, so it just helps me stay focused on what I need to do and make sure that I'm not sending out emails every point in time. I send reminders. I set the amount of reminders and at what time reminders should be sent, and these things happen automatically. Okay, so we are going to be exploring and looking at some of these tools. First of all, I'll go through the categories, then I'll list each and every one of them. Then we'll pick a few that I feel like, these are very essential. Everyone should actually go through this or know how to use these tools. And that is it. So there are categories of productivity tools. Productivity tools can either be for time management, communication, note-taking and documentation, to help you focus and avoid distractions. It could be for file sharing and storage. They could be the ones for creativity and content creation. They are the ones for automation and integration. There are productivity tools for learning and development. And then finally, there are analytic and reporting tools. So we will take the first and common. Okay, and lastly, there is also tax and project management. Particular session, I have curated a list of tools that we're going to be working with. Let me just quickly share. Want to share my screen. Welcome. Just a minute, trying to set up slides to show, but my screen is not sharing. Just a minute, please. For those of us that are joining, today's focus on this webinar series is essential tools that everyone should use, especially going into a management role, whether you're coming from a technical background or from a business background, whatever background that you're coming from. These tools will literally save your life and save your time. So we're looking at boosting productivity with some essential tools, and I will be sharing some of those tools with you. Some tools I feel like, everybody should actually know this set of how to use them. So, like I mentioned initially, these tools are divided into categories where they are communication tools, they are time management tools, they are time management tools, they are also collaboration tools, they are task management tools, project management tools, creativity and content creation tools, different tools that help you do different things. So we're going to be looking at some of them, sharing my screen. So just a minute, please. Excuse me. Okay, good evening. Can everyone see my screen now? I had to disconnect and connect again. Can everyone see my screen?
I can't see it yet.
But is it loading on your end?
It's not. It's loading now. I can see it.
Okay, okay. Is it up now? Can you see the screen now? Ime, can you see my screen? Okay. Ime, can you see my screen? Hello, can anyone see my screen? Okay, so okay, so here are some of the tools. Okay, okay, thank you. All right, so we're talking about whether it's communication tools or productivity tools, in sense productivity or documentation or communication tools, sorry, or backup and storage tools. These are essential for every single person. So let's go through the first one. The first one is Google Docs. I don't know if you're familiar with Google Docs, but Google Docs is a perfect tool for real-time collaboration. It is a documentation tool, and it's basically like Microsoft. It's Microsoft's like Microsoft's Word, but it gives you that real-time collaboration. So whether you're working, whether your team is within your location or they are far away from you, you all can still work on the same task, work on the same document in real time, and everybody can see what every other person is doing. So whether you want to draft a proposal, brainstorm ideas with your team, you can contribute and share seamless feedback seamlessly on your document. All right. So the next document is Google Sheets. Now, just like Excel, Google Sheets is Excel for you because you use Sheets to organize and track data such as project timeline, and it integrates perfectly into whatever it is that you're doing. So these are Google Workspace tools, Google Workspace, like Microsoft Office tools. So these tools, they help you. You don't necessarily have to download them into your laptop or your device. You can always use them from the web-based browser. And sometimes, maybe for those using phone, you need to download them into your phone so that you can truly enjoy and use them effectively. So the next one is Google Slides. Just like using PowerPoint to create presentation slides. This is another tool. It's a Google tool, and also for organization and productivity. And then it allows you to be able to create presentation slides, organize your visual ideas, and have everything, put together so that you can present it to your team or to your client. Then the next one is, okay, before we get into this one, now Google Docs, like we've mentioned, Google Docs, Google Sheets, and Google Slides. These three tools really makes them stand out is the fact that they are real time. You're getting real time feedback whenever you're using them. So if you're using it among a team of 10, 20 persons, all of you are collaborating at the same time on the same document. So it's not a matter of like, oh, you finish drafting yours, you send it to your team member, and then they put their, their thoughts or their ideas, and then they send it back to as you're, writing it, they are also giving their own input on the go. And you can always control the access level. So you can control whoever has access to the document that you're working on, what they can do on that particular document. And you don't necessarily have to have the document on you or have your device, the device that you use to create these documents on you. You could just generate a simple link, and with that you can, use this or open this particular document from any device. It might not even be your device. It could be your phone. It could be your laptop. It could be a friend's phone, a friend's laptop. You could lose your laptop or your phone and you still have access to these documents because they are integrated into storage for you automatically by Google. And this will eliminate the scenario of, oh, your device went off, you have an important presentation to attend to, and you're not able to do so because your device is low. So it makes you look more like, oh, an intentional professional because you have it online, you have it stored somewhere, and you can easily retrieve it. And we will understand more about this by the time we get to the workshop. And so for people that work with a lot of team members or like have to manage tasks, whether you are a technical person, like I said, a business person, or even a product or project manager, or any type of manager, Asana is a project management tool that would help you assign tasks, create timelines, and ensure that everybody knows what they're doing, while also allowing them to customize their own workflow and keep everything on track. So if you say you want to plan a birthday party now, you can create the event on Asana, assign, okay, this person is handling decoration, this person is handling flyers, this person is handling cake, this person is handling cooking, this person is handling sound, music, and lighting. All those things you could actually assign those tasks to people and then give them a timeline in which these things are supposed to be completed. And it is the best one because it's user friendly. The experience is seamless. You don't have to know so much about the tool to be able to use it. It is just simple to use. The next one is Linear. So for the technical guys, people that work with technical teams, maybe managers of technical teams, and you're trying to, get your technical team to actually, do more with less time, Linear project management tool is the tool for you. But if you're not too technical, I would just say just avoid it and focus on Asana. Then we have Google Drive. Now, Google Drive, Google Docs, Google Sheets, and Google Slides. This Google Drive just becomes like the central hub for all your documents. So whether you are using an Android phone or an iOS phone, once you see that you cannot do without Google, every single thing that you've ever sent, every single document that you have sent using your email, maybe your Gmail, they are automatically stored into your Google Drive. And if at any point in time you need this information back, it will just give you direct access to it. You just need to know how to search for it and how to find it. So what Google Drive does, it is good for what Google Drive does is it is a storage, an online storage, system where you can store all your files, all the documents that you've ever worked on, whatever it is. You can create folders for them and include everything, label them the way you want to label it, give access to who you want to give access to, also collaborate with your team. So if you have multiple documents that you have to work on, you can create a folder and then have subfolders. If it's for you're managing an organization, you want to have something for administration, a folder for administration, a folder for operations, a folder for projects, a folder for say maybe inventory, a folder for human resource. You might want to have those things categorized in those order and not wanting this document to be mixed with this. You can use Google Drive. You create different folders and then assign them to each of those folders. And you can share this with people that you need to share it with without having to send so many documents at the same time. You just have to give them the link. You just have to share the link with them and then they will be able to have access. So we'll see more about this when we get to the practical side of things. Then there is Google Meet, which is the current tool that we're using right now to have this webinar. And the Google Meet helps you to be able to have virtual meetings. So you don't have to be where your colleagues are. You don't have to be where the people are to be able to have meetings with them. Just like most of us now, I might be in Uyo, you might be in Lagos, you might be in Port Harcourt, you might be even in Abak or Ikot, but you're here because you're able to be a part of this webinar because of Google Meet. It is a communication and collaboration tool that allows you to schedule and join calls right from your calendar. You don't have to, or right from your email. So the moment you get the link for a Google meeting, that's all you need to do. You just click on the link and then you get on the call. Sometimes you might need to wait for the host to invite you in. Sometimes you may not need to do things like that. So this is a communication and collaboration tool, and going into a position where you would have to constantly have engagement with other people, it is wise that you learn how to use tools like this so that meetings that, you might probably be thinking, how do I get to Abuja? Most of the stakeholders are in Abuja. How do I get to Abuja? You could just simply hop on a call. It manages time because, for that particular time, rather than you being on the road, traveling for like an hour, 2 hours to get to where the meeting location is, you can just simply hop on a call. I am going to pause and say, are we still following? Can you guys still hear me? I would like a reaction, something here, if you can still hear me. Okay. All right. So I'll carry on then. Then from Google Meet, there is ChatGPT. I know you're wondering, like, how is this a productivity tool? But let me explain. ChatGPT or any other AI generative conversational tool is key in helping you streamline your activities and just manage your time. It's like having an assistant that you just have to say okay, this is what I need you to do, and the assistant can reproduce that exactly for you. The reason why people would always be like, I can't use ChatGPT is because we do not know how to use ChatGPT or any other AI tool to actually get what we want. These are conversational tools. So look at it like, okay, you're brainstorming with your assistant or brainstorming with a team member, and try to, at every point in time, make it own whatever it is that you're doing. So if I wanted to send an email, ma'am, or let me just say, while I have been planning and working on this webinar, ChatGPT has been the brainstorming tool that I could actually get to use. So for the plan, the breakdown of how the webinar is going to go for each segment, I have imputed, okay, this is what I have in mind. This is what I want it to look like. What do you think? How do I go about drafting emails? How do I go about drafting content and newsletters? How do I go about even automating from registration to people getting their invitation links? How do I go about automating those things? So it helps, even in content creation, it helps for you to quickly, save the hours that you would have taken to actually think and then probably not come up with something fruitful. You just save those hours by actually brainstorming with ChatGPT or any other AI model, and it will give you what you're looking for, after a few moments. So this is definitely another productivity tool, and I would say this is we'll categorize it in organization and organization collaboration and communication tool, because it just cuts across all points. So the next one we have is Canva. This presentation that you're seeing right now was created on Canva. So as a professional at this point in time, you want to quickly put out something visually appealing. You want to quickly create a presentation, maybe social media post or something, and you just want it to be a bit more creative. Canva has incorporated AI models that can actually help you create what you want to create quickly. So it is definitely a tool that everybody should have in their disposal, even whether it's for a management role or just for your own professional role. It is a tool for you to have. You can either create slides, you can even create video content on it. You can create marketing material, social media posts, even banners that people use on their LinkedIn profile, Twitter, now X, Facebook. You can simply create those things using Canva. And then we also have, last but not the least, we have CapCut. CapCut for editing videos, quick edits and easy. It's quick to use and it's easy to also use. So whether you want to add a touch of creativity to maybe your presentation, you want something, maybe you have a stakeholders meeting and you just want to, go out of your way to do something very interesting. This is a tool that you can quickly use, and you don't necessarily need to have known how to shoot videos and edit for you to be able to use this. So you just need to follow, like, okay, what do I want to do? A few instructions here and there, and you're good to go. Okay, so aside from that, I have some honorable mentions, and one of them is for tax management. I would say Google Keep. Google Keep is should be your go-to note taker, because it is easily accessible to you and you don't necessarily need to do like a lot to be able, so whatever it is that you're thinking about, maybe you're in a meeting, you forgot your notebook, does that mean that you cannot take notes in that meeting? No, simply look for Google Keep. And for everything that has to do with Google, it is stored in your Google Drive. So just use your Google Keep and, sort that out. Then a top man in the game is Google Calendar. Google Calendar is a lifesaver whenever it comes to creating an event, scheduling a meeting, or even working on a task. So it's a scheduling tool for managing appointments, events, and also it gives reminders. So at every point in time, I know you've received emails like, 3 days ago, you received emails about a day ago, 12 hours ago, 30 minutes ago, 10 minutes ago about this webinar. It wasn't me sending it at every point in time. I wasn't constantly coming to my phone or my laptop to say, okay, send emails to this person or send emails to that person. I just stayed on, while I was creating the event on Google Calendar, I just simply gave it like, okay, I want you to send email at time, at time of the day. How? I do not want it to come as a notification because not everybody has Google Calendar like fully functional on their phone, but we at some point in time have access to our email. So send it to mails. So Google Calendar has been that one tool that has helped me achieve that. And then there is another player, which is Google Photos. So for many of us that have Android phones, Google has already embedded most of the products into the Android phones, and they are easily accessible. If they are not, you can download them from either Play Store or App Store, depending on the type of phone that you're using. And then last but not the least, there is Google Forms. Google Forms is a tool for creating surveys, quiz, forms for data collection. So whether you're a data analyst, a data scientist, a data entry person, if you want to collect information from a number of people and you do not want to have to do so manually, like, oh, you create and then people now have to find a way to write their answers on the documents, you can simply use Google Forms. Google Forms will just give you that access for you to create questions, a list of questions that you might want to ask this person, share the link to them, and then have your response, their response, automatically stored in Google Sheets. So you're not running between, oh, where do I keep this and where do I keep that? You just have it in a central location. So with that being said, I am going to go into the workshop part of it, where the tools that I shall be demonstrating would be Google Docs, Google Sheets, Google Slides, Google Calendar, Google Meet, Google Forms. Also give you a run through on what do they call this tool? Also give you through on Google Drive. Okay, are we ready? Do we have questions? Okay, yes, Mr. Benjamin, see your hand is up. Okay, merci. Okay,
Thank you
Mr.
very much,
Benjamin.
ma'am.
Okay, yes. Okay,
Okay,
yes, Messi.
thank you. My question is, I've tried creating survey like questions with Google Form,
Okay,
with Google Form app, something like that. And
okay,
normally, when I fill form online, I get an instant email. But I discovered that
okay.
once I create those form, I don't get to send those or have people get those email like they registered for this and something like that. So I don't really know. I need help with that to know what I'm not getting right. Thank you.
Uh, okay. Sorry, I need to understand your question. So the problem is you've created Google Forms, but then you do not get the response from the people. Is that it?
No, no. Normally, when you fill Google Forms, like y- you're filling a form online, and then you finish when you click
Yes.
submit, you, the
Mm.
person that filled it, will get an email about
Okay, of your
maybe if it's a webinar or if it's an invitation, you'll get an email of further instructions immediately. Like as long as you're even submitting, you're getting the email. So, but
okay.
I've tried it as per let me create my own form and then let me see if the person that fills it will get that kind of email, but it's not happening.
Okay, so let me get it correct. So the email that you're getting is not that you've actually filled this form and this is your response on this form. It's more like, okay, follow up on like, oh, you filled this form. Here is where you need to go to actually get this. Is that it?
Yes, please.
Okay. Okay. So that one is masterclass. So just so you know. Okay, so that is what that has to do with automation. So if you need your response to be attended to in a certain type of way, you may have to automate it. So let's okay, can everybody see the screen? Let's get into it. Please, Messi, just remind me when we get to Google Forms to actually, show that part. Can everybody see my screen? Okay, you should see Google and their search bar. Please, we can see just, a reaction would be nice. Okay, thank you, Messi. Benjamin, Patience, can you see my screen? Can you see what's on the screen? Okay, can you guys hear me? Okay. All right, so I don't know whether you guys can hear me. So I'll get to it. Okay, all right. Thanks for that. So so you see this place here. If you hover on it, you will see Google Apps. And the best way to navigate all these tools is just type into your search engine, whether it's from your phone. And I would like if you can actually do it while I'm actually doing it, whether it's from your phone or your laptop, your device of any kind. Type in google.com, and then it would just google.com. Type it in, and this is what you should see. This is the screen that you should see, whether it is your phone, whether it's your laptop. This is the screen that you should see. You should see if you're signed in on that particular device. You should see your image here. You should see Gmail. You should see images, and this is, I think this is filter, and then you also see this hamburger menu right here. Okay, so how to have access to all these tools all the Google tools that I've actually talked about is here, this hamburger menu. So when you click on it, it shows you all the different tools that Google has that you can use to, make your own work super easy. So you can see all of them. There is Gemini, there AI, there is YouTube, there is Business Profile Manager. If you're a business owner, this is a great tool for you to actually use. This way, when people search for your business online, Google will show your business online. Okay. So, and then there is contact. So you can easily add all the contacts that you have on your phone. You can add it right here. Then there's Drive, which is the Google Drive that we're talking about. So this is the first tool that will work, one of the tools that will work on. There is Gmail, there is Google Meet, there is Google Calendar, and then we'll go down. We have Google Docs, Google Sheets, Google Slides, Google Keep, then there is Google Forms. Okay, so I'm going to be walking us through most of these Google tools and any other tool that, you want us to attend before our time is up. We're going to go through that. So for starters, let us go to Gmail. So the reason why I'm going with Gmail is because oftentimes we do not understand how to use Gmail. Okay, it is improper as a professional. It is inappropriate for you to send an email to someone without having a subject. So it opens up my Gmail space, and then the first thing that you see here is settings. So if you can see, the background of my email is actually different, quite different from what any other person might have. This is because I customized it to look a certain type of way. So you go to settings, and I think you should see something about personalization. So it will ask you how you want your what do you call it? How you want your emails here to show, whether you want it to come out in a comfortable way, in the default way, okay, like this, or in a more compact way, like this, or comfortable, something like, okay, so this is comfortable, and this is what compact looks like. So depending on what you want, you can easily walk through it from your settings. Then the next thing at the bottom is theme. So like I said, the reason why my background is different from what yours might look like is because I changed the theme. I didn't want it to be the basic theme, so like I decided to change it. And this is just my own personal preference because I just felt like the basic one, which is this one, the or a default one, is just a bit too boring. Yeah, it's too boring. So that is what. So you can choose whatever theme works for you. Remember, it's your own side of things. They've given you this so that you can make it yours. So make it yours. Then I want to see how emails, my emails, I want it to come out in a certain way. I want to customize, maybe have all my emails, whether see, so here you see primary, promotions, or social. So this just has all the different categories of your email showing. Or for me, I would go for important first. So that's emails that are important, emails that have this yellow thing here. That's important emails are like emails that I should actually look at or address. Those are the ones that I have set them to have this yellow flag here. And you too can actually do it. So if you're going to receive emails from a particular email and you feel like, oh, that's actually an important email, and you want, to see it on top of your list at every point in time, you might go ahead and associate them. So I'm going to give us a simple example. So let me go to all mails so that to show all the mails I have. So now I want to make emails from OP important. So I come here, just where this empty flag is, say, click to teach Gmail that this conversation is important. So I change it, I mark it important now. So at every point in time, when I get an email from OP, it will automatically flag it as an important mail. So this is one way that you will help over time. It would begin to think on its own. Like I said, AI is becoming integrated into most of this. So it will begin to sort based on your pattern. It will begin to should be considered important. And
Sorry, Ma, I can't hear any sound. So sorry, everyone. I believe is a network glitch. Okay.
okay, sorry about that. I got cut off. Please, where did you stop hearing me at so that I can just pick up from there?
All right. About as time goes on, the preference will be recorded with the AI. They'll know that this is your preference on the ones marked as important.
Okay, yeah. So I demonstrated unread messages. If you want your unread mails to come up first, that is what you can also set it from here. You can customize it from here. So it will prioritize unread mail. So for every mail, if I open it now and I finish reading it and then I close it, it should automatically take it out of here. And so let me do this. So you see, that particular mail that I just read is no longer here because it's no longer an unread mail. So depending on what you want, how you want your email to look, and then start first. So every email that I've started, if I want them to all come up as first, it can also do that for me. So all these mails that I've started, I will now be seeing my start mails first. Okay. Okay, so the power went out, so my laptop shut down. But regardless, I will continue with my phone. So can you guys still hear me? Can you still hear me? Hello, can you hear me? All right. Okay, so I will continue with my phone, and this is even good for persons that are using phone, so you can easily see how to navigate. So since my Google Meet and my email are bound together, so I'll have to just drop this down. So now this is my email. Can everyone see my screen? Reaction, please, or something. Can you see my screen right now? Okay. So you come here to settings. Definitely going to be different from the um desktop version. You just come to inbox, same thing, the priority, how you want your emails to come out, whether you want it to be start first, unread first, important first, or default inbox. Then you have the inbox automation, customization. So the whether how you want your list to be dense or what should happen when you swipe your email. So if you're swiping it from right to left or left to right, what should happen? Do you want it to archive the current email or what? So, and then being able to label it. So you can label your, what do you call it, the emails that come into your they are coming to your device based on, they're coming to your mailbox based on, like, okay, an organization or a project or something. So you can get to add, you can get to create different ones. So that is it. Now let's go to the compose side. So click on compose. Now, when you click on compose, there are a few things for you to note. First thing, never leave your subjects open. Never leave it empty. Don't send any email to anybody without a subject. Even if you feel like, oh, there is already context in the mail, in the body of the mail, so you don't need to. I tell you now, you should always put a subject. Don't leave it. It's very unprofessional if you leave the subject empty. Then two, if you click on this drop down, there are two things that you would see, and on the desktop version, it's going to be different. But then you will see CC and BC and BCC. Now, CC means copy, like you're going to copy other people. So if I want to send an email to myself and I decide to copy some other person, so um I copy this person, I copy another person, I copy another person. Now, when this email gets to them, they will be able to see who and who is on the same mail with them. So I've copied these persons and they can all see. So they are not blinded to see that, oh, it's me and this person that are on the mail. But then when you use BCC, that's blind copy. That means if I copy each person, they will not be able to see whoever else has access or who else I sent this particular email to. So this, you use this when you're working with like a large data, sorry, a large email database. So like if they are totally strangers, even in the same organization, if you're going to send an email to over 15 persons that are not probably your team members or something like across organization, yes, you might choose to, depending on the type of email you're sending, you might want them to see who else is on the mail. And but for security's sake, you might want to put it as a blind copy. That means whoever I'm putting on this mail, no other person can see. All right. Do we get up to that point? Does anybody have a question? Any questions so far? Okay. Take that as a no. So that is all that I think are relevant whenever it comes to email. So the next one that we're going to use is we're going to go to our browser and we're going to search google.com all over again. So now you see what I said. Even if you're using, whether you're using a browser, whether you're using your phone or your desktop, it's still going to be the same thing. You would always have this listing like this. So your email, your you have your Gmail on one side. Okay, it's different on phone, but you always have your profile on one side. So now we've covered the Gmail. Let's go to Google Drive. So now this is what my Google Drive looks like. And this is what yours should look like, except if you've not used or probably opened your Google Drive in a while, you will not have anything here. But this is it. This is all the documents, all the different folders that I currently have in my Google Drive. Now, I want you to see this. So if someone has ever shared anything with you, whether it was through your mail, whether it was through whatever it is that actually had you save it using your Gmail, you would find all of it here in shared with me. So whether you have actually deleted it, it is not completely deleted unless you come and delete it from here, then it's gone. So if I scroll down, you would see down to like years and different organizations that even though I'm no longer in those organizations, these documents that we shared then are still there. So now let's go back to my Google Drive. So first things first is you can get to sort what exactly that you're looking for. You can also change the way it appears. So you can make it probably tiles or grid, anyone that works for you. And then you can go ahead, create like different folders, and those folders then have things inside of them. So let's get into how we create create a particular document inside of your Google Drive. Aside from having to, so for this, let me go to the app on my phone. So I'm going to open the app. But then for those of us that are using our desktop, you'd easily be able to find this plus sign here on the desktop where it will tell you new, or new. It's just new with plus. So I come here, I tap on this. I can choose to upload a file, scan a document. Now this is because I'm using my phone. Take a picture, create a folder. I can choose to open Google Docs, Google Sheets, or Google Slides. So what I want to do is I want to create a folder. So I'll name this folder productivity tools, productivity tools, and then I'll create it. Now I'm going to move a bunch of uh information in here, or yeah, I'm going to move a bunch of things in there. So I come here and I look at, okay, productivity tool, the document called productivity tool, and workflow and timeline. I move that also. And then I can also, okay, let me put this also. And then after I finish copying them, I click on this and then it asks me which destination. I pick my drive. Then I just go and look for productivity tools and then I move it here. So it will automatically move down here. Now, the second part of this, that's you create, you've created a folder, you've added documents to it. Now you want to share this with other people easily. You just go back to your productivity documents and then you see this three dots up here. And then you see share, you see manage access, add start, copy link. You can even rename it, you can move it out, you can add shortcuts, whatever it is, you can even delete it. So now what we want to do is we want other persons to have access to this document. So there are two ways of doing that. So the first way is I can add the people that I want to directly be on this mail, on this particular document, that should have access to this particular document with me. So I can go ahead and add this person, and then it will show me that they have some functions. So they have like titles and roles. So there is view, there is commenter, there is editor. So you can see already in the description that an editor can equally organize, add documents, and edit any document that is inside the folder. So depending on the role and the type of the person that you're sending this access to, we might need to be careful with the type of access you give the person. So that is for share. Then there is a part of manage access. So for manage access now, when you open it, you will see general access and then you will see people with access. So because you're the owner of the folder, you are, referred to as owner. You can also transfer this ownership. You can add other people from this particular icon here, which takes us back to share. And then this one is to copy the link. So now this general access is, I do not want to sit down and start putting people's emails. I do not know, probably I have a big team and I would not be able to put everybody's email at the same time. I come to general access. You can see restricted says only people added can open with this link. So that means the people that you've added their emails, they're the only ones that can open with this link. That's what it means by restricted. Now I tap on it. I decide to change it from general to anyone with the link, from restricted to anyone with the link. This means now that anybody that I share this link with can have easy access to the document or to the folder. And same thing, I can also change the authority they have. I can make them viewers, commenters, or editors. And they can use, this access from wherever in the world that they are in. So they don't necessarily need to receive an email from me. For every single time I add something, they would see it. Okay. So that is all for this side. I am going to ask now, is there anybody that has a question before we move on? Does anybody have a question? Something that you're not totally on, you didn't totally get, or something that you probably want us to touch on before we carry on? Okay. Am I talking to myself? Am I alone here? Hope I'm not alone. Okay. All right. Any question? Okay. So with that, I would continue. So that is for the Google Drive. So the next tool that we're going to explore, okay, so power is back up. So I'm going to switch back to my laptop because the navigation is just easier. While I'm waiting for that to come up, the next tool that we're going to look at, it's going to be, let me share my screen again. Okay, can everyone see my screen? See if you can see my screen, just a reaction will be fine. Okay. All right. So the next documents that I'm going to go back to my web browser, and then the next tool that we're going to be looking at is going to be, so back here again, the next tool we have covered Gmail, we've covered Gmail, we've also covered um Google Drive. So the next one is going to be Google Meet. Let me. Okay, can everyone hear me? I switch back to my desktop. Can everyone hear me? All right. Okay, so in case you're using your desktop, okay, thank you. In case you're using your desktop and you want to, can you see my screen? Can you see my screen? Okay. All right. Okay. So in case you're on your desktop and you're looking at, okay, do I really have to come back to Google to actually switch to a different tool? No, you don't. No, you don't. So the moment you open your email like this, these Google apps here are already central. So it gives you the access to all other tools right from where you are. Even if you're using Google Drive, whatever tool, Google tool that you're using at that particular point in time, you can easily navigate to other ones without necessarily leaving the current tool that you're on, which is another good feature. So what we're going to look at now is Google Meet. And then I'll just open Google Calendar alongside because the two of them are going to be tied together. So for Google Meet, I would quickly share this tab. So for Google Meet, can everyone see? I've switched from my Gmail to Google Meet. Can you see my screen? Just a reaction will be fine. Just a reaction will be fine. Okay, so all right, so you can see that this is currently the meeting that I'm joined into right now. So I want to create a different meeting, and that's the thing. It doesn't even, you can create as many meetings, which is something that I've learned. You can create as many meetings as you want to, and you can join them concurrently. Like you can join them at the same time, and one will not shut down and leave the other. It's just you that will be frustrated on how to join two meetings at the same time. So first things first, we'll come here. You will click on new meetings, new meeting, and then you would select. So what do you want to do? Do you want to create a meeting for later? That's like you generate a link. So let's start with that option first. So you're creating a meeting for later. All you just need to do is copy the link and share it to the people that you want to share it with. Easy peasy, no too much stress. That is one option that you have. The second option is start an instant meeting. So if I am to start an instant meeting, it will just show the meeting instantly, like instant. It will just start the meeting, whether there are people there or there are people that are not there. But it will give you the provision to add people when it starts. So let's give it a while, let it load. actually opens without affecting our own meeting. Okay. Okay. So it has created the meeting. It has created the meeting for here. So now I can choose to add other people right from where I am, right inside the meeting. I can also choose to copy the link to this meeting and share with other persons. So that is one way. And then now I leave the call. So I end the call for everyone. Hope this is not our own. Okay. Okay. So, and return to home screen. So in case I do not want to go with that option, and I just want to schedule ahead of time so that we do not, I do not get to forget, the person that I want to meet with doesn't get to forget. That is where we have schedule in Google Calendar. That's where schedule in Google Calendar comes through. And that's why I said Google Meet and Google Calendar can oftentimes be tied together. So now that I clicked on scheduling in Google Calendar, it will take me automatically to Google Calendar. So whatever thing I am doing, I'm now going to be operating from Google Calendar. So as it loads now, first things first, what is the meeting? So what is the title of the meeting I want to have? So let's say stakeholder briefing. Okay. And then I want to set the day. So I give it the title first. I come here, I set the date. So I want it to be on Monday, and maybe I want it to be in the morning. So I pick the time, maybe, so let's say 10 a.m. And then should it be a 1 hour meeting? Should it be a 2 hours meeting? Should it be a 3 hours meeting? I can literally select how many hours the meeting is going to be. So let's say a 30 minutes meeting, and everything is happening on the 9th. Are they different time zones? So stakeholders, say, imagine that your stakeholders are not in the same place. Are they going to be in different time zones? If they are, then you have to allocate, or you have to select the particular time zone that you are setting from and the event time zone. So if I am in West Africa and a stakeholder is in California, I would have to set the event in such a way that the stakeholder in California knows that I'm not referring to 10 a.m. his time, I'm referring to 10 a.m. my own time. So that is why we have time zone. So you click on time zone that you are operating from. Some of these things you will probably just have to Google to know which time zone to set in. So if you're working with team members that are all over the world, you might, a good tip is that do not try to set everything in your own time zone. Set it in their own time zone too, because that way everybody feels more included. So I pick a time zone, I click on that, I accept that. Do I want this to be repeated all day? No. Is this something that is going to be reoccurring? No. So it should not be repeated. Now you scroll down to the meeting details. So as you can see here, Google has already automatically generated a link for this meeting. Okay, so you can then add location if it's going to be, since it's not a physical location, there's no point adding location. Now, how do you want to remind your stakeholders of this meeting? This is the part where you see this bell icon, that's what it means. So you come here, you click on this. Always, the best option to always go with is email, because not everybody might have their Google calendar activated on their phone. So the notification part might not necessarily work, but the email part will work because it will drop in their mails. So you can choose to add as many notifications and reminders as possible so that nobody gets to, so between today that you are setting the meeting and the day the meeting is supposed to hold, you give them enough reminders to keep the meeting top of mind. And you can choose to, pick which, this part is, I have different should I say, classes that I have on my Google Classroom. So it's going to ask me, am I setting this meeting for a particular classroom so that you could send the email to that classroom? So you have no business here. It's just like to show your name. And then the busy, you can choose to add description, maybe like the agenda of the meeting. It's a good tip if you're working with like team members or stakeholders. You might choose to just add like, oh, quick agenda, what they should prepare on, what they should, come with, things like that, description right here. You can also add like a document from Google Drive. You can customize it anyway. You can even drop a link. You can accept a link here. So it will ask you to give it a text and then the link itself. So just anything that you need to prepare whoever is coming for the meeting. Then we have guest permissions here. So now add guests. You can add people by their mail. So say I want to add everybody on this. And so I want to add every single person here. So next thing, after adding them, I just want to modify. So like there's guest permission. Do you want your guests to be able to invite another person? Then you can leave this tick on. Do you want them to see, do you want all the guests to see who is on their guest list? So for the sake of learning purposes, when this webinar started, I made a mistake of allowing everyone to see the guest list. And I had to quickly rectify that, like ask Google to take this permission off and just remove it so that whoever it is, because they are like over, there were over like 30 persons that had registered. And so imagine 30 strangers having access to each other. You may not know which one is a bad person. So for security sake, always do not allow the guests to see who else is on the guest list. Don't allow them to see the emails of the people on the guest list. If it's like in an organization that everybody knows who is supposed to be there, you can allow it. Best option is don't allow it so that you do not have any issue, And then you can also modify the event. Oh, sorry, you can give the guests permission to modify the event so they can choose to add their own details or time and all. If you're the one organizing the meeting, it's going to be chaotic if you give everybody permission to this thing. So know who needs the permission and who doesn't. So by the time you're done with all that, this is okay, still the same thing. So event details, everything you are done with this side. So all this is done. So now you are ready to save. So you come here and then you save. So I'm going to remove all these people so that they will not come and think that I want to schedule a meeting with them. Okay, so, and then after all that, you save. So now it will automatically show on your calendar. It will block out that particular day from the hours, those hours that you have set it for. So let's go to 9th of, this is the calendar, let's go to 9th. So 9th in the morning by 10 a.m., I have a stakeholder brief by 10 a.m. So I can just use this and, stock up like, oh, what do I have for the day? Give myself reminders for these things. So another thing that you should note about this is that from calendar, you can create tasks. You can even schedule appointments. So if it's a task, the type of tasks that you're creating, like what are the details? You can even show like tax, what do you call it? Tax list, the type of tax that you have. And this one is integrated with what we call Google Task. From my personal experience, I prefer to set from Google Calendar. So it's just more easy. And then I can also have appointments. So like I can book out a particular day. Business owners, people that have clients, this is a very good go-to tool because you can, schedule. If it's a walkthrough meeting, whatever it is, you can schedule an appointment from here. If you're a consultant, you can schedule an appointment and everything just works. So like, let me say, project proposal or project kickoff. Let's use kickoff. So I can pick the day I want it to be, and then the time. So if I have like many appointments, I can just use here. So you create a booking page that you can share with others so that they can book time with you, they will book time with you themselves. So oftentimes so I've been reaching out to some foreign organizations, and oftentimes they will just, send me, oh, so and so time they are available. So let's see. They will send, oh, for so and so time that they are available. They will give me like, okay, so that they are unavailable on this day, they're unavailable on this day. So they can choose to add like, okay, I'm available on this day, I'm available on this day, I'm available on this day. And then they will tell me, okay, the appointments, okay, is for like an hour. They select the days that they are available. So I would now, the day and the time that they are available, when I receive this schedule from them, so after scheduling, they change dates of availability, that I can easily do that. So you see scheduling window, 60 days in advance to 4 hours before the start of that particular meeting. So I can choose to reduce the maximum time or something. Like if I need to give the person a range, I can do that. If I don't, I just let it go. Then if I need to add any other information or a form or things. So let's start with this one. So the picture, booking page, picture and name. This, see how you identify is how your identity is displayed on the booking page. So it will come up like this, Hannah, and my picture would actually show. So location and conferencing, select how and where. So I can choose to say, oh, call, in person, Google Video Meet, and I click that. Description, maybe project initiation. And then, so that is done. The next one is form. So customize the form that people use to book an appointment. So I can ask them to submit their name, their surname, their email address. I can add other items, their phone number, or just customize something that I want to actually see and add it there. Then confirm and booking confirmations and reminders. So do I want a reminder like for the person that I am sending this schedule to? How should I remind them? Should it be through calendar? Should it be through email reminders? How many reminders should they be? So I can choose, same way that you do when you are creating an event, that you add multiple reminders so that the person does not, lose track of the meeting time. So now this general availability sets when you are regularly available for appointments. So if you're not available at a certain time, you can just create the ones that you're available for. Scheduling windows, this limit the time range during which appointments can be booked. So if I say that, oh, I need you to book in advance. So if I want you to book like 3 months before when we're supposed to have that, I can say the maximum time in advance that an appointment can be booked is in 60 days. So like that's 2 months in advance. The minimum time before the appointment starts that it can be booked, that's 4 hours. So like that means before the meeting starts in 4 hours time, you can still decide to book hours, you can no longer book. So that is that. If you do not understand something, try it out yourself, take a tour, watch this video. I'm going to put the video up eventually, and you can watch it as many times as possible. So now indicate times on specific dates that you are available. So you can choose to even change your date of availability, your booked meeting settings, no buffer time, no maximum booking per day, guest permission. So these things you might like to say, buffer time, add time between appointment slots. So if I'm having back-to-back appointments and I want them to ensure that, oh, they do not clash, so I can choose to add a buffer time of maybe like 30 minutes to an hour, so that if I'm giving multiple people the same, so let me show you what that looks like. if I'm giving multiple people the same schedule to just pick what time they should have a meeting with me, and I decide to say, okay, let me put like 60 minutes break between the two so that I do not get all, I'm in the middle of a meeting, or maybe a meeting that spilled over too long. So you can see when I changed it from 30 minutes to 1 hour, it gave like a distance for each day. So if I have a meeting by 9, my next meeting schedule would have to be 11 because I've given it an hour before. So that is the littles about how to use Google Calendar. And so limit how many booked appointments to accept in a single day. So if I say I can do up to 7, so maximum is 7, and then minimum can be like maybe 1 or 2. Then the guest can also invite another person. So now this is to, most of this will actually, me seeing this is to help me avoid conflicting or booking, double booking myself, or allowing people to double book. So if you pick 9 a.m., the next person will definitely be seeing 11 a.m. because I've given myself that range. So this is, when done right, you can use this and it's a superpower. You don't necessarily have to download any app. You can just do all this from the comfort of your mobile phone or from your desktop, depending on which one you're using. All right, are we still together? Any question? I've closed off on, I'm done explaining on Google Calendar. All right. So, all right, let's quickly move on. So the next tool to look at is, we have covered the Google Drive, we've covered Gmail, covered Meet, we've covered Calendar. So let's go to the productivity tools. So this one should be quick because not so much happening on this end. Okay, so now this is Google Docs. Google Docs for every type of documentation that you might want to have. So Google Docs, you can either create, start afresh with a blank template. You can pick from the list of templates depending on what you want to do. So you can pick from CV templates, you can pick letter templates, some personal, say you want to write something personal, maybe like a diary or something, or a recipe, you can always do, you can write it from here. Pet resume, anything about work, proposal, meeting notes, onboarding notes, brochures, newsletters. So basically, whatever you need, whatever type of document that you're trying to create, there is a template for you. Now, if you do not want to use a template, you just want to start off scratch, that's also fine. That's why we have the blank documents here. So down here shows you all the recent documents that you have probably created or opened in the last 7 days. You can see the further I scroll down, the more the days increase. So earlier, I know. So that is that. You can also change the way you view your documents. So mine was in grid, now it's in tile. So like I can see each document like going like this rather than in a I think in a column, or is it in a row? Anyways, it just changes the direction in which you can see your documents. And then you can pick, is it documents owned by anyone, documents owned by me only, or documents not owned by me. So if it's something that someone shared with you that is not yours, maybe you're looking for a particular document, you can flip it, you can choose to sort it out. You can also sort based on like the title of the document or when you last worked on it. So, and also you can also open like file picker. So that is basically that for navigating the site. Yes, do I have a question? Okay, all right. So, okay, so blank documents, let's get into it. So after you finish creating your documents, I believe we all know how to create a document. You come in here, you type what you need, type, and you get on with it. So after you have finished creating the documents, so You can add maybe like a meeting note that you have, an email draft or something. You can even add people. So if you have like people's email address or name saved to your Google contact, you can easily call them up without even having to, or maybe if you have their email address, you can easily call them up and things. So like you can even have a drop down, so many things. These are things that you should actually explore on your own and see. Is there someone? Okay, hi Benjamin. You see it. I'll send the link. It will be on YouTube. So that way you can have access to it. So if I want to work on multiple documents at the same time, say I have a project that I'm working on, I can easily add different tabs on the side. And although this feature, you would mostly see it on the desktop version, but you can view them on your mobile version. So that is that. So this is not computer basics class. I just want to show you how to use this document. So you can add multiple tabs and create multiple documents across folders. Now you come here, you want to share with a team member. Okay, so you always have to give it a name, give the document a name before you can actually share it. So let's say project. So I come here and I want to share it. Same thing, I can either add someone or I come to general access, depending on how many people I need to share the document with at once. I can, change it to anyone and then give them the access needed. So based on their role, are they a viewer, are they a commenter, are they an editor? So if it's an editor, that means that person can actually edit this document alongside with me. Or I can choose to add their names. So let's see. Yeah. I can choose to just add their names and then, click on the email and then it will be shared with them automatically. Now, for people that you do share, so let me add someone. Okay, so you share this. Now, you can choose to change, okay, which one this is. I know. So another thing, once you send this access change to the person, if you come back here to share, you see that the person is an editor. Now you can also transfer access to them. So if I want to transfer ownership of this document from myself to another person, I can just come to where you have, so let me take that again. You come to where you see editor or viewer, and then you click on it, you should see the same rules again. Then you see transfer ownership or remove access. I want to transfer ownership of this document to this person. So I do that, and you'll be, so this person, you'll be the owner until this person accepts ownership. So I send the invitation, and until the person actually accepts the ownership, I am still the owner. So this works for if you're leaving an organization and you want to transfer ownership of the documents to members that are still within the organization. You just do that. It's a seamless process. You don't have to now start copying files and sending it across. You can just transfer ownership easily. So that is all for Google Docs. That's all that should be, spoken about for Google Docs. So the next one is Google Sheets. So I can choose to, from my Google Docs, I can choose to use this main menu, or I can come to this hamburger here and pick the next tool that I want to work on. So for this one, I want to use Sheets. And Google Sheets is loading. So it will just change. So the same thing for the type of work that you're doing, you can easily find templates for them. You can change, what comes here. And then for the sheets, you have different ways or mode in which you can actually add a particular document or something. So for the spreadsheet, like just like the document, you can add several sheets. So, and just by clicking this plus down here, you can add several, sheets maybe you have multiple documents, but you want it to be on the same page or on the same document, you can add them multiple sheets. Then there are some customizable features here, which is start with some built-in table. So this you can now use it to. So if you have some team members or things, this is mostly for people that are into like project management. So if you want to get into it, like you should actually either you find a dedicated time with me and then we walk through it, or you just Google it. So same thing, you change access, same thing, you have to include your name or the name of the document and all that, give ownership, same way you would do with Google Docs. So that is everything for Google Spreadsheets. And then last but not the least is slides, Google Slide. And almost, so Google Docs, Google Slides, Google Sheets, it's almost the same process. It's almost the same thing. They have the templates. You can add multiple documents. You can also share it to multiple persons at the same time. So all this depends on what you're trying to achieve. And then also for these documents, you can choose to one unique thing about them is that you can even go back to a previous version of your document. So this right here, so let us look at, so this document has no history. So let me put something so that I will have history. Okay, so I have that now. And then so now you can see this thing has popped up. So it shows you that the last edit was seconds ago. So if I want to go back to what it was before the last edit, I come, this is the current edit right now. So this is the last edit. I come and then I can restore this version back. Okay. So when I restore it, doesn't mean that, oh, the version that I just changed from has gone. No, it's still there. I just have to come back and, click on it again, and then I can restore it. So this way, when you do delete something or clear something, it is not totally gone. You just need to know where to find it. So this is your history, more like it. So you can restore your lost files, what maybe a correction that something that someone changed, you can go back and restore it. So that is another unique, way of using, or unique reason to actually use Google Docs, Google Slides, or Google Sheets. And you can also join a meeting from right here. So if I want everybody that is on these documents to join a meeting, I can simply just join the meeting, have them join the meeting from right here. So bring the call here. So let me now bring all of us here. So you're presenting this video call. The presentation will stop when you bring the call here. So let's do that. So Okay. Hi, I'm still here. When I close the, particular document that we're working on, so the call went off. So now there is forms, which is the last one for today. Like I said, the video will be up on YouTube and you can go through it. You can even leave comments and I will address those comments if I need to. If you need me, maybe after the webinar series comes to an end, I would also create singular videos so that you could go walk through and perfect your use of these tools. So last one is the Google Forms. Now, just create a blank form. Let's just start with that. So you can add the title. So just like Google Docs, almost the same type of things, only that this is a different file that requires different, what do I call it? Different handling processes. So some of these things are actually new. And I believe that's a new update. Most of them are new. They're not here in the older model. So let's get that. So we can change this. So first thing, you work on your title, change your title, add the description. So whether you're doing a survey or you're preparing assessments for your students, or you are preparing a quiz for your team, anything, like whatever it is that you're doing, you can use Google Forms to get that done. You can. So when you write the name here, you can just come and click on this and then the form will become the name of that form. So you add your questions. So question number 1, what is a project? So now, based on this question that I'm asking, what is the response supposed to be like? Am I going to give options? So you have multiple choice, you have short answers. Things like names, email address, phone number, gender, things are just short answers, things that you don't have to like describe anything. You always go for short answers. If you have to describe something, paragraph. If you have options that you want people to pick from, multiple choice. If you have a checklist, maybe you have multiple options, you have options and you want people to have the access to pick multiple things at the same time, you go for checkbox. And then if you're just trying to have space control and management, you have multiple choice or checkbox. No, multiple choice, and you just, rather than have every answer listed out there or option listed out there, you have what they call a drop box. So okay, sorry, I didn't know I wasn't sharing my screen. Okay. Okay. So what I was saying here is, so you come here, same way you came, you got to Google Docs, Google Slides, Google Sheets. You come, you create, you give it a title, you ask your first question. So like your first question, what do you want it to be? Should it be a short answer, a paragraph, multiple choice, check boxes, drop down? Do you want the person to upload a file? Should it be, depending on what you want, multiple grid choice, tick box grid? Should it be a date? Should it be a time? Whatever the answer is supposed to be, you select the appropriate form in which it should come as. So most of these things you will have to read up on them to actually know exactly how and when to use them. But the generic ones are like this first 6, where it's always you're either uploading a file, maybe you're applying for something, they'll ask you upload your CV, upload this document, that document. Dropbox is you have multiple answers, but then you do not want everything to be showing at the same time. You want until when the person clicks on the options, then it will now show. So that is one way of doing that. Then you can add questions from here. The second, so this clause here is to add questions. This one is to import questions. So if you have your questions stored up somewhere, you can import them. To add title and description to a particular section, to add an image. You want to add a video. You want to divide things. You want to divide it into sections. So there's section 1, there's section 2. There's so much that can be explored here, but we're already out of time and I may not have the time to actually explore it. But I would make follow-up tutorials on how to use each of these tools. So then there is a preview option. So I will share this. So it shows you while you are currently, working on the form, you can see what it's going to look like for other people. This is what I meant by the drop down. So you click on it and then the options show. So that the eye that you see here, is for preview. This one is to customize the theme. So if I want it to look a certain type of way for maybe my organization or something, I can customize the theme. Then there are add-on options. So there are certain things that you cannot necessarily do. So if you wanted to set this thing, you wanted people to respond, to pick certain times when they respond. Say you are trying to schedule a meeting with people, and then you want them to pick certain time, and then once one person picks that time, the time should not show up again. Then you might need an add-on that is called form choice limiter. So the moment one person picks that particular option, the option disappears. So only one person, you can assign like, okay, only one person can pick this option, or only 5 or 10 people can pick this option. So if one person picks the option out of 10 people, by the time it gets to 10 people, it will automatically clear. Okay, so the undo and then the redo, yes, that's like, a no-brainer. Then you copy responders link. So if I want to copy a link for response to you, I'll just copy from here. And then if I want to add you to this particular document, I just add you from here. So, and then publish, so that I do not publish something that, okay, it's not ready. So whenever I'm done with everything I need to do, I then publish it. So I publish the form, and then anyone can actually, easily use this form now. So that is one of the many things that you can do with it. So you can also make copy, move to bin, and pre-fill the form. You can even print it. There is script editor. That one is a different ballgame on its own. You can even unpublish the form. So like no matter where anybody has the link, I can unpublish it and then they will not have it anymore. So these, you can see this bar that says questions, then their response. So for every response that I'm going to get, they're going to be recorded here. And then I can simply click on this and it sends the response to a spreadsheet. So it's now going to tabularize it for me. The person's name, what for each row belongs to whoever has filled the form. Now we come to settings. So depending on the type of form that I'm creating. So if it's a quiz, I set it that, okay, a quiz immediately after each submission. So if it's a quiz for like students, I set a point. So you see here, is it going to be 20 points? I'll be 20 marks. Like how many marks am I actually sharing? How many points am I giving to a particular question? Then is it after they finish the quiz, should they immediately get their response, or like, oh, you got this, you failed this? I know, depends on what you set. If you want it to be for you to release the response on your own, so later after you have done a manual review, before you then release a response. So it will tell you that for every response, it is going to be collecting emails. Okay, so respondents can see which questions they have missed depending on the type of form that you're working on. Excuse me. Okay, depending on the kind of form that you're working on, your responders can, if it's a test and assessment, you can set questions and you can set right answers. The next one is the response. Manage how responses are collected. So you can choose that before anybody can fill your form, they have to be verified. That is saying that, so let's turn this off. So that's saying that you have to collect their emails. So they have to be signed in on maybe Google before they can actually fill your form. Then this one is send responders a copy of their response. So if you finish filling my form, I want you to see what you have actually filled. So I can send it all the time or when you request for it, depending on like what type of form again it is and whether you need all those necessary or unnecessary interactions. Then apply response editing. So response can be changed after they are submitted. Do you want the response of your form to be changed after they are submitted? In the case that you're using this to maybe ask candidates, give them assessments or like a quiz or an examination, you do not want anybody to change their response after they've submitted it. So you can keep this off. If it's something that, you're filling an application and people may have the tendencies to like, maybe see that they wrote something wrong. If you're gracious like that, you can choose to allow them to edit their response. Then there is the limit. So if I want a particular person to respond only once, I click it. So now, before you even start filling the form, it will require that you sign in. That way, I'm able to track that it's only one person that's reacting, is actually filling this form, not multiple persons filling it at the same time. Sometimes when you're doing registrations and activations, maybe for an event, you might want to turn this off, because imagine if you have one device that you're using to do multiple registration, you will want to be given the liberty to submit other responses even with the same device. So those are some areas. Then presentation, how the form and responses are presented. So as you are filling the form, do you want people to see the progress bar? Should the questions be shuffled? Should there be a shuffle order? So what is number 10 for me will now be number 1 for someone else. And then confirmation messages. So after submission, what do you want people to do next? So Mercy, I think one of the ways that you can actually achieve what you were asking for is confirmation messages. So rather than leave it as, thank you, your message has been received or your response has been recorded, you can customize it and say, okay, click this link to join this, click this link to join that. That is one way that you can go about it. Then there is show link to submit another response. So this one, I think this one just sorts out for the limit to one response. So if you say no to that, if you say, limit to one response, you will see that show link to submit another response is disabled. So those are some things. And then view results summary. So, and then share results summary with respondents. So I keep this on. For everybody that is filling the form, they will be emailed their response. And then I can disable autosave for all respondents. So like, rather than, I don't want your listen. So if you're filling the form and you leave the form, let the form close on your own end. That's all. Respondents will lose their progress if their browser is closed or refreshed. This one is good for when you're setting like exams or assessments or quiz, where you do not want people to necessarily should I say leave the browser. If they leave the browser, they know they stand to lose something. And there are other things that you can, so in the add-on you can also add things like something that would indicate when a person has actually left their form. So that is one way. So if you close your browser now, you lose every information. Then there is form default. So by default, all emails should be collected. So for everybody that's signing up or filling my form, all their emails should be collected. And then questions, make questions required by default. So you know how you fill a form and then you can skip some questions. Well, I don't like people skipping questions, and or at least not all questions. So I might choose to make questions required by default. That means you cannot skip them. You have to drop a certain response before you leave them. So these are some of the ways that you can use this tool for your own benefit. And with that, I have come to the end of this. I have come to the end of this session. And if you're still here, wow, thank you so much for sticking around. And I am ready to answer any question, or if you want me to do a follow-up on a particular tool, that would actually be, I'm open to that. But now it's time for questions. Okay, so any question? Anything that you did not quite get? Is there something that I actually missed out on? Yes, Messi.
Thank you so much, Ma. I really appreciate the class. It's so amped and engaging. So while you were
Thank
on
you.
forms, I saw enable HTML. So that was part of my question. Initially, I wanted to
Okay.
ask you if I can attach a link to my Google form so that once anyone finish filling my form, they can now open a link, maybe to access a document or further instruction.
Okay, so let me go back to that. There was a part in which I talked about confirmation messages, messages that should pop up when people finish submitting your form or finish filling your form. So I think that is in response. So here, is it? Okay, not here. Okay, so let's go to presentation. Okay, yes, confirmation messages. So I can choose to share the link. So let me copy the link of this call and share it in this document. So now, for example, this meeting, I could have easily said for everybody that is registering for this webinar series, they would easily have links to the meeting itself. So I could just put it here and then I save it. So now let's go to the preview side so that you see how it comes up. So, so let me quickly publish it so that everything will be copacetic. Okay. And I publish. Okay, so now I just reload here and it's published now. So first thing, it's requiring that I actually, record my response as my email and then the question that I have been asked. Okay, so let me open responders link so that just so that we can see how that plays out. So now this is the form. This is the responders link side, different from the preview. So the preview, there's certain things you can't do on the preview, like submit. Even though you can test it, you cannot submit. So you have to get the responder side. So this is it. And I answer the question and I submit. So now you would see that it's this link that comes out as the confirmation message. So I can choose to add so many other things, maybe instructions like, oh, step 1 do this, step 2 do this, or go to this file for further instructions. Like I can choose to do all that from my confirmation message. So let me quickly come back. You see that my response has been recorded and this is a confirmation message. So does that answer the question for you, Messi?
Yes, yes, it did. Thank you so much. And lastly, the first question I asked, the automated email.
Okay, so the automated side, that will require you to merge a couple of things. So whenever you get a response, let's get to that. Whenever you get a response, you have to link it. You can see this screen, right? You can see what I'm doing right now.
Yes, I can.
Okay, so I want to get like my response to spreadsheet. So I create a spreadsheet. Let me show you. So this is the spreadsheet. And then all the links are saved here. Every response is saved here. So now I can choose what I want to do with these responses that I have actually gotten. So when it finished loading, I would be able to see what things I can do with this. So you come to tools, okay, extensions. So there's something called app scripts, and this is like an automation tool. So you would just simply give it the instruction you need. So if I want to connect my response, the response that are coming on my spreadsheet, to maybe use it to send automated emails to each person that is dropping a response, I want automated emails sent to them. I can do all that from, app script. Or if I want for, maybe I sent out a form and I want people to come out for a particular meeting or schedule an interview session with them for a certain time that it doesn't clash with any other person's own, I can also use app scripts to automate that response. So for everybody that is speaking a certain time, it would, automatically schedule a meeting for me and them in my Google Calendar, and then also send them an email about this interview session. So it's AppScript, and AppScript is out of the scope of what we're doing today. But this is one tool that can help you to actually get all those automation, especially from Google Forms, Google Sheets, and Google Calendar and email. It can just help you automate the processes there. So this is the tool for you to research more on and figure out how to use. I hope that answers your question. All right. So thank you so much. We've come to the end of today's session. And my name is Hannah Macauley. And thank you so much for stopping by for today. If you have any question, you know where to easily find me. You can either text me on WhatsApp. You can reach out to me via email, and I would give you a response as soon as I am able. So you can always, chat me up on LinkedIn or Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. My name is still the same. It's Hannah Macauley everywhere. So it was nice actually having you guys here. Thank you so much for sticking with me up until this time. It's been amazing. And I hope you actually get to use these tools and make your own, day, your own workflow a lot more easy, because these tools save you a whole lot of time. Thank you so much. Thank you, Akanimo. Thank you, Aniekan. Thank you, Messi. Do have a good day and enjoy the week ahead. All right. Sorry. Do have a good night. Enjoy your week ahead. All right. Thank you and good night.